Hartford, Connecticut. Ki olvasta Tom Sawyer kalandjait, Huckleberry Finn kalandjait? Állítólag itt íródtak ebben a házban, Hartford, Connecticutban. Ne! Nézzük a térképet előbb. Múzeum, Visitor Center. You are here. Nem vagyok én egy here. Harriet Beecher Stove. Ő volt, aki írta a Tamás bátyja kunyhóját. Nem tudom, hogy itt guided tour lesz-e, vagy sétálhatok körbe, hogy benézünk ide a Visitor Centerbe, megmondják itt majd a nénik. Ja. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Ez 1870-valahányba költözött Connecticutbe, vagy 20 évig itt írogatott. Szépek a virágok. Akkor az itt most mi az? Mark Twain House and Museum. Etna Gallery. Floridába született, Florida városban, nem Florida államba. Missouri állam, Florida. Aztán majd Hannibal, Missouriba költöztek, ami egy kikötőváros. Ott inspirálódott a Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn kalandjai. Oroszlán csináltak belőle. Ja, ez az. Ennyit fektetett be, $200,000. Bebukott az egész. Ez ilyen. Billentyűzet, gyerekek. Page kompozitor. Ez az űrge James Page találta fel ezt a gépet. Automatic typesetting machine. 9000 pound. Ez mennyi tonnába vagy 4? 18,000 mozgó alkatrésze. Jó van, ez bukta volt. Itt van a timeline. 835-ben született Samuel Longhorn Clemens, Florida, Missouri. Lack of money is the root of all evil. Pénz hiánya minden gonoszság gyökere. Hallottátok, gyerekek? Travel is fatal to prejudice. Az utazás fatális, halálos az előítéletekre. Ez jó mondás. Pepsi. De jó, Lego Mark Twain. Van itt még könyvtár, csecsebecsék. Mark Twain élete. csinálják néhány fényképet is. Autobiográfia, hú de fokos. Gyerekek, megvettem a jegyet, kezdett agyomra menni már ez az egész bullshit itt. A házban nem szabad fényképet, videót csinálni. Mi ez, bazd meg? Tegnap lemegyek a Teslahoz, test drive-ra, nem szabad fényképet, videót csinálni, jövök ide, nem szabad. Meg is bántam már, hogy megvettem, vissza is kéne kérjem a pénzem. Hát akkor mit ér az egész, hogyha nem tudom lefényképezni és levideózni? Esküszöm. Na jó, mindegy, most már megnézzük, hogyha itt vagyunk. Persze, hogy úgyis fogok kamerázni, csak úgy, hogy ne vegyék észre, hát a GoPro-t lesz a tenyerembe. Milyen karmos nincs itt a Mobius. Fel kell valami rájtett kamerát magamra szereljek, gyerekek, mert ez így nem élet. Ha így fogjuk Amerikát letúrnézni, hogy felé a helyek 50 vagy 90%-a nem szabad filmezni. Jó, nem is megyek többet ilyen múzeumokba, házakba. Megyünk ki a természetben, nemzeti parkokba. Felbaszódok, mikor ilyen mi nem szabad fényképen, mi baja lesz, hogyha lefényképezem belülről a házat, kívülről szabad, belülről nem. Na jó, mindegy. Nézzük meg addig itt, mi van még. Van valami muziterem. Fél óra múlva kezdődik a ház tour, guided tour, ugye vezetővel. És addig meg lehet nézni, azt mondták 23 perc. És itt én vagyok egyedül. És nézzem, mert megnézhetném, azt YouTube-on is biztos rajta van. Akkor ezt kell lefilmezzem. Nem ide lecsücsülünk. Most vége vagy az eleje, kezdjétek újból. Hol vagytok? Hé! Ó, nevetítő.
I was made merely in the image of God, but not otherwise resembling him enough to be mistaken for him by anybody but a very nearsighted person.
Ez öreg hó van, féker.
I believe that our Heavenly Father invented man because he was disappointed in the monkey. Mark Twain.
Nézem, hogy milyen, hogy állítsam a kamerát.
He was the nation's best-known writer, the first to take the way all Americans talk and turn it into great literature. The outspoken critic of inequality and hypocrisy. The creator of some of the world's most memorable characters and some of his funniest stories, most often quoted saying. During his long life, he would travel the United States and nearly every continent. Witness the major events of the 19th and early 20th centuries, and rise from the obscurity of a humble birth to become the most recognizable celebrity on earth. I am not an American, Mark Twain said. I am the American. And his remarkable American life can be told by the places where he lived.
I was born the 30th of November, 1835, in the almost invisible village of Florida, Monroe County, Missouri. The village contained 100 people, and I increased the population by 1%. It is more than many of the best men in history could have done for a town. There is no record of a person doing as much, not even Shakespeare. But I did it for Florida, Missouri, and it shows I could have done it for any place, even London, I suppose.
He was born Samuel Langhorne Clemens in a two-room shack in the backwoods of the Missouri frontier, the 6th of 7 children, so thin and sickly, his mother remembered, that I could see no promise in them. But Halley's comet had blazed in the sky the night of his birth, and she clung to the hope that it might be a bright omen for her baby's future. 4 years later, in 1839, his family moved to a bigger home in a small Mississippi River town called Hannibal, a place Sam Clemens would always remember as a boy's paradise. In the nearby woods, he and his friends explored a deep limestone cave where a local ne'er-do-well named Injun Joe once got lost, surviving only on bats. They spent whole days alone on an island in the middle of the river, fishing, smoking corncob pipes, inventing pranks to play on the townspeople. And every summer, at his uncle's nearby farm, Sam and his cousins gathered in the evening in the cabin of an old slave they all called Uncle Daniel, who thrilled them with ghost stories and introduced them to spirituals and jubilees. But in 1847, when Clemens was 11, his father died, and Sam had to leave school and go to work as a printer's apprentice. He made the most of the experience, reading everything he could get his hands on, and writing occasional news items that showed his promise as a humorist.
Hannibal Journal, May 6, 1853. Terrible accident. 500 men killed and missing. We had sent the above head up, expecting, of course, to use it. But as the accident hasn't happened yet, we'll say, to be continued.
At age 17, he left Hannibal for good and began a restless existence as an itinerant printer, setting type in St. Louis, New York, Philadelphia, and Cincinnati. But in 1857, on his way to New Orleans, he decided to try something else. He would become a riverboat pilot, and for the next 4 years, Sam Clemens' home would be a series of steamboats going up and down the Mississippi River. He loved every minute of it. His time on the river, he said, was his schooling, teaching him about every type of human nature and filling his memory with characters who would one day populate his books. Much as he enjoyed his life on the Mississippi, in 1861, Clemens found himself far from the river. With his brother Orion, he moved to Nevada.
My dear mother, the country is fabulously rich in gold, silver, copper, thieves, murderers, Christians, Indians, Chinamen, Spaniards, gamblers, sharpers, coyotes, poets, preachers, and jackass rabbits.
For 6 years, the wide open spaces of the West became his home. He prospected for silver, tried his hand in the timber business, and finally got a job as a reporter for the Territorial Enterprise. With his new writing career underway, Sam Clemens decided to take on a new name, Mark Twain, an old riverboat term meaning 12 feet of water, a pen name that would stick with him the rest of his life. As Mark Twain, Clemens wrote for newspapers in San Francisco, sent back dispatches from a tour of Hawaii, traveled California as a lecturer, and wrote a story about a jumping frog that became a sensation all across the country. In 1867, his wanderings took him to Europe and the Holy Land to report on a group of American tourists. Hilarious stories that he turned into his first book, Innocents Abroad, which became an instant bestseller and sent him all around the East Coast on the lecture circuit. But by age 33, Clemens was ready to settle down.
want a good wife. I want a couple of them if they're particularly good. If I were settled, I would quit all nonsense and swindle some poor girl into marrying me. But I wouldn't expect to be worthy of her. I wouldn't have a girl that I was worthy of. She wouldn't do. She wouldn't be respectable enough.
In 1868, he fell in love with Olivia Langdon, the beautiful and serious-minded daughter of Elmira, New York's leading family. Unlike Clemens, Livy was religious, refined, and formally educated. But his irrepressible charm and his keen intellect soon won her over, and in early 1870, they were married. The newlyweds moved to Buffalo, New York, where Livy's father presented them with an expensive house, completely furnished and staffed with servants whose uniforms, Clemens said, cost more than any suit of clothes he'd ever owned. Only a year later, they moved to Hartford, Connecticut, at the time America's most prosperous city, where Twain's publisher was based, and where many of the nation's leading writers and intellectuals lived in a suburb called Nook Farm. On its western edge, on Farmington Avenue, Clemens commissioned one of the nation's top architects to build him a house, the first home he could truly call his own, a place where he could finally put what he called his vagabond existence behind him. For the next 17 years, it would be the scene of the most happy and productive years of Samuel Clemens's life.
To us, our house was not unsentient matter. It had a heart and soul and eyes to see us with, and approvals and solicitudes and deep sympathies. It was of us, and we were in its confidence, and lived in its grace, and in the peace of its benediction. We never came home from an absence that its face did not light up and speak out its eloquent look. And we could not enter it unmoved.
Although their first child, Langdon, had died before age 2, the Clemenses had 3 more children here, Susie, Clara, and Jean. In the library, their father would tell them a story each evening, using every object on the mantelpiece in the same order to create a different tale. In the dining room, Sam and Livy lavishly entertained their guests, later moving to the parlor, where Clemens sometimes played the piano and sang the spirituals he had come to love as a young boy. And on the 3rd floor, where Sam Clemens and his male friends often smoked and played billiards late into the night, Mark Twain, the writer, also worked during the day. In that room, and in his study at his summer residence in Elmira, New York, Twain would write his greatest works. The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, loosely based on his own childhood. The Prince and the Pauper. A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court. Life on the Mississippi, about his steamboat pilot days. And his masterpiece, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, a deceptively simple story about a backwoods boy and a runaway slave that became a cunningly subversive attack on slavery and racism. A novel that Ernest Hemingway would call the best book we've ever had, the beginnings of a truly American literature.
October. This is one of the peculiarly dangerous months to speculate in stocks in. The others? January, September, April, November, May, March, June, December, August, and February.
Samuel Clemens saw himself as more than a humorist or writer. He was a businessman with his own publishing company, and with 3 inventions patented under his own name, he was always fascinated by the new mechanical devices of his time, like the typewriter and the telephone installed in the billiard hall. But his investment in a new typesetting machine, the Page Compositor, which he hoped would make him fabulously rich, led instead to financial ruin. Lacking the money to support the grand life they were leading on Farmington Avenue, in 1891, the Clemenses closed their house in Hartford and moved to Europe, where they could live more cheaply in what Twain called everlasting exile. For 9 years, the family wandered, just as Clemens once had on his own, moving from hotel room to hotel room, rented house to rented house, in Italy, Austria, Germany, France, and England. He kept on writing, but it wasn't enough. To recover from bankruptcy, in 1895, he agreed to a grueling, year-long lecture tour that took him around the globe and made him even more celebrated. Meanwhile, his daughter Susie came back to Hartford and made periodic visits to their old home. But she developed spinal meningitis and at age 24 died while her parents were half a world away. It is one of the mysteries of our nature, Clemens wrote when he got the tragic news, that a man, all unprepared, can receive a thunderstroke like that and live.
I seem to see her in her coffin. I do not know in which room. In the library, I hope. For there she, Clara, and I mostly played when we were children together and happy. She died in our own house under mother's. Died where every little thing was familiar and beloved. Died where she had spent all her life. Till my crimes made her a pauper and exile. How good it is that she got home again.
In 1900, Clemens received a hero's welcome when he returned to the United States. The entire nation had sympathized for the loss of his daughter, but rejoiced that he had worked himself out of debt. The family could not bear to move back into the house where Susie had died, and sold it in 1903. But in 1908, Clemens did return to Connecticut, to the only other house he ever had built for himself, a place in Reading he called Stormfield. But this house was empty. Livy had died 4 years earlier, and their daughter Jean would die in 1909. Clara, the only surviving daughter, was often absent. To remind him of happier days, the old mantelpiece from Hartford was installed at Stormfield, and the bed he and Livy had shared, festooned with angels, was placed in his bedroom.
Before 70, we are merely respected at best, and we have to behave all the time. But after 70, we are respected, esteemed, admired, revered, and don't have to behave unless we want to.
With the turn of the century, Twain had begun speaking out even more directly on issues of equality and racial justice. He defended the rights of Africans and Asians against imperialism, supported a woman's right to vote, attacked corrupt politics and anti-Semitism. He dictated his autobiography and also wrote darker works criticizing conventional religion that Twain thought should not be published until well after his own death. but despite his increasing loneliness and despair, as probably the most famous American on earth, and certainly its most beloved author, Twain was seen by his public as the man who could always say something about himself or the human race that would make them nod their heads and smile. He never disappointed them.
I was sorry to have my name mentioned as one of the great authors, because they have a sad habit of dying off. Chaucer is dead, so is Milton, so is Shakespeare. And I'm not feeling very well myself. I came in with Halley's Comet in 1835. It is coming again, and I expect to go out with it. The Almighty has said, no doubt. Now here are these two unaccountable freaks. They came in together. They must go out together.
On April 21st, 1910, at the age of 74, with Halley's Comet streaking across the sky again, Samuel Langhorne Clemens died. But Mark Twain, the writer, lives on through his words. Words that sometimes take us to another place and time. Words that sometimes make us cry, but more oftentimes make us laugh. Words that sometimes challenge us to look at the world with questioning eyes. Words that always help us understand that most difficult of all things to understand, ourselves.
I am not an American. I am the American. I am the human race compacted and crammed into a single suit of clothes, but quite able to represent its entire mass multitude in all its moods and inspirations. I am only human, although I regret it.
Akkor nézzünk szét kívülről. Megvoltam ugye a háztúra. Nagyon fasza volt. Nagyon pazar a ház. És ez volt a műhelye Mark Twainnek, a garázsa. Nem épp úgy néz ki, mint egy garázs, de ebben nem engednek be. Az ugye a főház, ott voltunk. Amúgy a ház 11.000 square feet-es, gyerekek, az kb. 1000 négyzetméter. A 11.000 négyzetláb, azt hiszem. Itt kezdődött a túránk, itt besétáltunk a porcson, a tornácon. Körbe megyünk, megnézzünk mindent itt most kívülről. Nagyon ügyes épület. Kívül belül. Itt van a bejárati ajtó. Kis lefedéssel. Hát a szolid fa, minden nagyon fasza. Belül, gyerekek, milyen pazar. Kár, hogy nem láthatjátok, mert bent nem szabad fényképezni vagy filmezni. Nem szabad, de lehet. Csak ne vegyék észre. Kis padocska. Amúgy 4 szintes a ház, de az alagsorban a pincében nem engedtek be. Azt mondták, hogy ott nincs semmi látnivaló, csak raktárnak, lomtárnak használják. Tehát három voltunk ugye első, második, harmadik emelet. Vagy földszint első, második, és itt jöttünk ki. Mentünk be a főbejáraton, ez a szolgálóknak a kijárata. Hátul van egy külön lépcsőház, szolgáknak elől ugye a fő lépcső az ott a ház közepénél van. Alsó szinten itt konyha, ebédlő, mi volt, azt hiszem egy hálószoba, de a második szint volt a fő laktér. Ja, tehát ez a pince, vagy a laksor, itt nem voltunk. Akkor itt 1870-ben kezdték építeni. Itt van a növényes szoba. Nem rossz kégli, állok benne én is. És mondta Nénye, mennyibe került az építése? 40-50 ezer dollárba 1870-ben? Mai pénzbe átszámolva az satszolnék vagy 2-3 millió dollárt. Az apósa gazdag volt, feleségnek sok pénze volt. Ez pedig itt kinek a háza. Ja, hát úgymond ez nem tartoznak ide. Ezek itt a szomszédok voltak. Catherine Day House, hogyha jól értelmeztem. Meg a másik az a... Ez a Harriet Beecher Stove Centerhez tartozik, ehhez tartozik, ez a Harriet Beecher, aki írta a Tamás bátyja kunyhóját. Ja, meglátná ezeket is nézni, azt hiszem, de erre megint külön jegyet kell venni. Hát nem érdekes ma. Mark Twain volt az érdekes. Oké. Akkor ez kb. Ennyi ez a túra, gyerekek. Nem volt túl érdekfeszítő, túl látványos. Érdekes, miért nem tették az egész térképet, mutatnak nyilat, hogy arra van a Mark Twain House. Már rátehették volna ide. Mindegy, ez csak a Harriet Beecher Center-t mutatja. De azért érdemes volt, eljöjjek, nem bántam meg. Mert itt külön van itt a Harriet Beecher Visitor Center, és akkor hátul van ott a múzeum információs center. Ott vettem a jegyet a Mark Twain házába. Egy kicsit így feltlenül nincs, nem egyértelmű, hogy mi hol van itt be, és se tudod mit csinál, bemész vizitor, akkor kezdik magyarázni, hogy ez itt lehet jegyet venni oda, de ha ide akarsz jegyet, akkor hátra kell menni. Akkor majd, mikor lent leszünk Missouri-be, akkor megnézzük. Hát Florida, Missouri, basszem már nincs amit nézni, mert az már lakatlan. Lehet nem is létezik egyáltalán már az a település, mintha. És a másik, hol volt a másik? H betűs, Missouri-ba, ahol költöztek utána. Az nem tudom, azt lehet még megvan, ezt megnézhessük. Arra járunk. Na jó, ennyi, jó, el vagyok, nem apa.